Hello and welcome back to A Better World. This is your host, Mitchell J. Rabin, and I'm very glad you're joining us again today. Today we're going to have another very interesting show. We have invited back Master Mantak Chia. Mantak Chia is extremely well known worldwide for his work as a Taoist teacher. He has been traveling the world originally from Thailand, Chinese born, has from an early age had a great fascination with Taoist practices, herbal, acupunctural, Chinese energetic, and he has been studying for many, many years before he set out to Europe and the United States back in approximately the late 1970s, early 80s, to educate the West about these ancient, very beautiful, very special spiritual practices, energetic practices, ways of building health and well-being, building strong bones, as well as building strong sexual chi, life force. And that's going to be the subject of today's show. With Mantak Chia, we can talk about any number of different aspects of the ancient Taoist cosmology. But today, because this is so vital and primordial, if you will, to all of our lives, that will be the subject that we'll be discussing. And how many other places can you really discuss with someone of his expertise the subject of sex from a spiritual perspective? So his latest books on these subjects are Qigong for prostate health and sexual vigor for men, and for women, Qigong for women's health and sexual vitality. So, Mantak Chia, a pleasure
Hi.
to have you. Ni hao ma.
Yeah, how?
Good to see
Yeah,
you again.
great.
In fact, the last time we were together was in China,
Yes.
scaling the
Yeah.
mountains of
Right.
China, doing Qigong and Tai Chi Chuan on almost all of them.
Right.
So it's good to see you again
Yes.
here in New York City. So your experience is vast. You've written a number of books on sexuality and sex from a Taoist and spiritual point of view.
Yeah.
What would be the first thing you would want to tell our viewers about that relationship? Most people don't really connect spiritual cultivation with sex. They, because of Western ideologies and religious thinking, think of them as very separate. But in fact, the Chinese and Taoist thinking recognize them as being absolutely intimate.
Yeah. So the Tao said, if we look a very simple way, we call the great Tao or the God give us the soul and the spirit. And the primordial force give us the original force. That's, we say 100% stored in the
Dantian.
Dantian, and another 25% of 100% stored in the kidney, another 25% stored in the sexual organ. So we actually left 50% of original force to run our life. And the original
When you say original force, are you talking about Jing?
Jing, that means the force that we received from the beginning.
Yes, okay.
And these forces, the number one, when you have original force, it pull the soul and spirit stay with us. That's the first step. When we run our original force, the soul and spirit left.
Oh.
And the kidney Jing is running, number one, running for emergency. It's a reserve energy, emergency, when you're very sick. And the Tao believe in a moment when we're death, we need this Jing to push up out to the universe, out of this
interesting.
space.
Yes.
Now,
We rarely think of needing energy to
Push it
release
out.
the
Right.
spirit or soul
Otherwise we
from the
just drop
physical
here.
body. Yeah.
so no matter what kind of belief you are, if you don't have enough
Chi.
Qi, you're going to drop here. A booster rocket boosts you out of the earth. Otherwise, you stay here.
Yeah.
Now we left another 25% in the sexual organ. And the sexual organ is the same original force. And the one that also original force, also when we go to cultivate the spiritual, this original force will feed the soul and spirit for them to grow up and for them to be developed and educated to be a full grown educated soul.
Okay.
So now,
So in other words, you could say the cultivated, educated use of the sexual power,
Yes.
sexual energy,
because
for feeding something that goes beyond the realm of pleasure.
Right.
It includes pleasure, but it's not limited to that.
Yeah. But the whole
Is that
key-
an understanding?
Yeah, the whole key is this. Sexual energy, for us, we think that is only for having baby.
Yes.
Okay? And
Or just for pleasure.
yeah. But the whole thing that the universe, or we call the nature, or God, give us about 25% in the sexual organ.
Yes.
So a man can
That's
have
a lot.
5,000 ejaculation. And in olden time, the emperor get a knowledge from the Taoist Master said, you can have 5,000 ejaculation. So he said, okay, if I want 5,000 children, I should have 5,000 concubines. So a man can have 5,000 children. A woman can have 350 eggs
In a lifetime?
in a lifetime. A man also in a lifetime can have 5,000 ejaculation. So now, if you said population of American is 2.5. So how many times we ejaculation to get a child? 2 times, 3 times. I'll give you 100 times.
2.5 times.
2.5 times. I'll give you 300 times,
Yeah.
and you still have 4,700 left. So that is, sperm is very precious because gene.
Yes.
Now, but after that, what all these genes do?
Every sperm is precious.
Yeah. So what this
As the
energy,
great film says.
either we don't know. So the Tao said this is the biggest waste human continue ejaculation now. That is the big
For
waste
male.
for male.
Yeah.
Woman, the menstruation. You see.
So you
So
have
in the
ways
Tao said-
of controlling both.
Right. So the Tao said if we can transform them, and now the simple thing is that energy equal mc squared.
Yes.
M is the material, C is the speed of light, is fire.
See, Albert
So-
Einstein was really a
Right.
Taoist.
Right. So if you want energy, you put the material and the fire together, you're creating energy.
Yes.
Now you have a lot of sperm, and women have a lot of we call
Eggs.
eggs, or we call a lot of energy to make milk. We can transform them back to life force. That is the key.
You mean that milk that isn't going to be used to nourish
Right,
the infant?
baby. Because
Right.
every month we do that. For the lady, every
Yes,
month we
right.
producing nutrition to make milk.
Sure.
But if we don't do anything, it's stuck there.
Yeah.
We need to transform it, or we need to exercise or move it. So if not, it's stuck and
It
become
can
a lump.
return to the original chi
Right.
to be used for spiritual cultivation.
Because this is the only extra energy you can do. We don't have other extra energy now. The original force, we are screaming for more energy. We don't have it. And the kidney gene, people always drain them out.
Uh-huh.
Now the only sexual energy, if you said you don't want that many children, all the rest of the sexual energy can transform. So we only see that the monk, the nun, the priest, they have no sex. That's it. Why? Because they want to transform and reserve the sexual energy. and
So
transform it.
when the sexual energy in a man from not ejaculating, but
Yeah.
the chi is there, or from women, from the eggs and from the mammary
Right.
glands,
Right.
is brought back for spiritual development. Could you
have to be
describe?
transformed it.
Yeah, could you talk about that part of the process?
Yeah, so the whole thing that we have to understand that possible or not possible. The possible way is that E equal mc squared. Energy cannot be destroyed, only transformed.
Right. Or
So one-
lost.
Or dispersed, not lost. You're dispersing it out.
Dispersed, but it's not lost.
Yeah.
It's
It never
always
lost, but
right.
it's always there, but it dispersed and no use because
Yes.
it's not condensed enough.
Right.
Okay, so the whole key is that if you know how to transform it and know how to dilate it, that is the great energy.
And when you have transformed it, you have, for instance, the microcosmic orbit.
Yeah.
You also have certain genital, like prostate meditation, where you bring the energy to
So
the
like,
prostate. So talk about, if you would, that process and what becomes of that energy once you've transformed it?
So the whole thing is that, like we call the prostate qigong. So the prostate qigong is that we producing fluid, and when the fluid don't come out or the fluid don't exercise, it become blocked. Okay, so in the olden time when you not ejaculation, now you're going to have too much fluid in there. It's just like if you have a lot of water, if you have sun shining on the water, water evaporate, become steam coming back.
Yes.
So become a recycling. Okay, so the whole thing is that the prostate gland and the testicle, they are connecting together.
Yes.
Okay, so the prostate gland is the testicle always is the ratio with the prostate gland. So the prostate gland producing the fluid, and the testicle producing the sperm. So now when you have a lot of sperm, you're going to produce more prostate fluid. Okay, and the prostate fluid, if you don't do anything, it's producing and it stay there. And if you not ejaculation, it's swollen up, and you have too much water. So a simple thing, if we think about, we have too much water, but the sun shining on the water, it change into steam. So all the water changes.
Yes.
And that's the whole key of transformation.
In fact, that's the basis of Chinese alchemy.
Yes. And that is the alchemy. And alchemy is water and fire. So now we have water. We said in the body, now we said this one. So now we said the prostate gland producing fluid.
So much fluid.
And the testicle producing the gene, the sperm. Now both have to be transformed. And now they have many very simple way. If you believe we have a healing hand, always say fire. Qi, we call qi. Qi is the outcome of material and the fire.
Yes.
Burn together become qi.
Right.
So qi, we say higher one. What they can do?
Right, it's a higher level.
Higher level
Heat and light it generates.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you have qi, and you believe that you have qi here, so for men, very simple. When you massage the testicle, but you have to massage it now. If you boil, if you cook something, if say 45 minutes and you cook 10 minutes, you think you finished. No. You have to go to a timing. So a lot of people, they never understand that. Like they massage the testicle, they hold the testicle and massage it. The qi, and you always have to make sure you have enough qi.
You're bringing a new meaning to the phrase egg timer.
Yes.
But
So sometimes it's very simple, but people think it's too simple, have to be more difficult than that.
Right.
Esoteric,
But how about using your mind?
that is a different part first.
Oh, okay.
If they cannot get this part
Yeah.
to feel the transformation, now the next part is more
This is interesting. Yeah.
because the next part
So
is
first
that,
touch, then meditate.
right, because you started to have the qi and you easier. Okay, now you need to. Now we are looking for fire. You see, you
Right.
have the material, you don't have a match.
You've
What
got
you
the
gonna do?
water, you need the fire.
Fire.
Yeah.
So now where are you going to get the fire? So you have to be number one.
Sex.
So we said that sex already
Yin and yang
transformed.
polarity.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you yin yang polarity is another subject.
Yes.
Because now you say your single cultivation transformation.
Yes,
We
exactly.
talk about
That's
it
a good point, actually.
Yeah.
Let's let everybody know we're
Yeah.
talking about you've got two forms of cultivation: single, which you're talking about now, and double, of course, when you've got the yin and yang components, i.e., male and female, coming together to create fire.
Right. So now, when you have material, now you need to look for fire. So there are, we call
The match
holy
you're
fire,
talking about. Mm-hmm.
but that is hard to come by.
Yeah.
So number one, we have heart fire, which in the Tao belief you born with it. So when you feel love, joy, happy, like fire.
Joy, yes.
And when you combine them together, focus enough, it becomes what we call by loving fire.
Yes.
So you have fire. In the Tao also say you born with a Dantian fire, you born with a kidney fire. If you combine them together, you have fire.
Yes.
Okay, but in the book, we're not talking about that much because that is in the meditation part. It's much more difficult for people. So the people have to learn how to massage the testicle. We have many different massage. We have many rubbing until the fire from the hand transforming the sexual energy. And we bring this sexual energy up into the bone and bone marrow. Okay. Now, but if you massage that, and you learn how to very gentle contract the anus and perineum, it will activate the prostate gland.
Yes.
And after that, you're smiling sunshine into the prostate gland. So it's just like the Tao said, smiling sunshine. And we also know it, smiling sunshine.
Right.
So you think you smiling, and now you're getting a fire burning down to the sexual organ.
We're not going to ask you to demonstrate.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
And you just
But no.
smiling, because prostate
Sure.
gland, if you don't do anything, it's blocking with the water. And they have to learn how to contract the anus and perineum. We call the deer exercise or longevity exercise.
Exactly.
So when you contract the prostate gland and you contract the anus and perineum, you're also contracting the prostate gland. And the prostate gland is the end of the nerve and always connecting with the center of the brain.
Oh.
And that's why when you contract it, the center of the brain started to contract it.
Interesting. So you get the pumping action.
Pumping action.
Exactly. Interesting. So in short, to sum up this piece a little bit, would be to say that you have the manual physical method
Right.
of bringing heat and fire to the sexual organs, both male and female.
Right.
And you have use of the mind and meditation to do that, and probably best to do both. Single cultivation and to really juice it up, double.
Right.
So in other words, one of the bases of Taoist sex practices, of course, is its spiritual awakening function. But it's also, you cannot separate it from pleasure. And so, and the joy of love. So from that point of view, pleasure, the seeking pleasure from this point of view also has this other component of the cultivation,
Yeah.
right? And therefore, since the Taoist way is also seeking to bring pleasure, especially to the woman, because the woman is slower to warm, no pun intended, and also will last longer typically than the man. Could you comment on that aspect of it?
The whole thing is that we call multi-orgasm man
Yes.
and multi-orgasm woman.
Woman, yeah.
And the major part you took
That was
me
the name of
along-
one of your books,
Right.
actually. Yeah.
Actually, the whole key is that
This is what people want to hear about.
It take
Orgasms,
a-
right?
it take me a long time to figure out the West discover and the East discover. So they discovered that the DNA renewal, it need orgasm, love and compassion, energy to make the cell split.
Oh.
If the cell don't split in few days, we die. You can shoot at people 10 bullets, maybe they not die.
Yeah.
But the cell don't split, we die.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now, when people under the very highly arousal, orgasm, love, and compassion, the cell split in a very, very good way.
Quickly. Oh.
Now, but mostly we under stress, angry, hatred, frustration. The cells still have to split, but split in a very bad situation. And that's how the differences in this part.
Interesting.
So now, but usually people when make love, they feel so high, and ejaculation finish. So the whole Tao said, the first step is men have to learn how to make a woman have many orgasm and ejaculation, because women belong to the water.
Speak about the distinction,
Yeah.
if you would. The
Yeah.
distinction between
mean-
ejaculation and orgasm.
Men have to be distinguished about the. You can have many orgasms, but you don't have to ejaculation every time. So we say you don't have to, if you are practice or you don't want to have baby, you don't have to You don't have to
ejaculate
use-
at all.
Yeah, you don't have to use the real bullet all the time.
Right.
And you run out of real bullet. So that's the whole key is that there are number when to ejaculation, how time, how long. There's a number for that. Okay. And so for a man, if you can have orgasm, they said you have to practice. So there are a lot of practice we call the orgasmic upward jaw, power lock, and all these things.
Yes.
In order to control
The techniques
the
to
technique how to
control
control the
the.
ejaculation and how to have orgasm without ejaculation.
Yes.
Okay. So the woman,
Which is very beautiful.
for woman, because woman is water and they're producing 1 egg a month. So women are losing a lot of energy in the menstruation and having baby. So in having sex, women are more higher, is more superior than men, because women can have
How
continue have
dare
sex.
you say that?
The whole thing is because the men write the Bible.
It's
so
kind of
we are-
obvious, though.
Right. Usually men write the Bible, so we always say men are stronger.
Yeah, right. We wrote the textbooks, so.
Yeah.
But women know the truth, and so do we.
Right.
Right. No, so I understand. So exactly that transformation, and there's also an interesting. It actually should be said that these are longevity exercises and health exercises, and a large part of the Taoist teachings. Taoist hygiene is largely about cultivating health,
Right.
strong bones, supple muscles and sinews, right? And longevity.
Right.
And that's sort of a measure of the success of the practice, is not just longevity in itself, or not just health short term, but healthy longevity, if you will. And if you really want to go far out, to actually immortality.
Right.
Could you comment on that a little bit?
That is it's a long talk,
Yes.
but we can say that the Taoism,
But now in a short time.
the Taoism always want to be said prevention.
Yeah.
We got yang sen, mean protecting and nourishing your body. I mean, we don't
And
let
how?
the body, in the West sometimes we don't care about it until they sound alarm many times, and we still don't care about it until
Yeah.
when they say, hey, final breakdown, now we go to the hospital.
Yeah.
So
Almost when it's too late.
the maintenance and take care of the good health. So now people sometimes they spend few dollars in health, but after that they can spend $1 million in the in the hospital and healthcare. Even you have health insurance, but you're still going to substantial paying a lot of money more on your pocket.
Sure.
But people don't want to spend time and energy and money now for
Caring.
their good health.
Maintenance,
Caring,
prevention.
maintenance, prevention, and learn how to cultivate your energy,
Yeah.
your emotional.
Exactly. So, but it's true that ultimately the fruit, if you will, of Taoist hygiene and practice is the cultivation of healthy longevity and ultimately immortality,
Right.
which is, of course, I agree, it's the large picture, but that is a true part of the whole matter that you teach.
Yeah.
You go around the world teaching that these practices.
Right.
Right? So it's very interesting. And it's true to say that focusing on the sexual aspect, because of the 25% that you made reference to, is a very big percentage of 100%.
Right.
You know? Could you talk a little bit about the relationship of the chi and the semen to blood? Because we have, of course, the chi and the blood and the semen.
Yeah, the whole thing we said, so the whole key of the Tao practice is they're very clearly transforming the sexual energy into Jing Qi, sexual energy. That is the first key, because there is so much over there. You either ejaculation out, that's finished. either you menstruation out and you finish. But if you can ejaculate, if you can transform them out, you have a lot of energy, because the sexual energy comes from original force.
Yes.
So in the Tao believe that, number one, if you transform the Jing, it change into life force.
Yes.
And that original force.
Right.
And if you transform the life force, it transform into Shen, and that is spiritual food. This is the very special spiritual food.
Mm-hmm.
We only know that we have to go to the church and the Father give us the spiritual food. But that is not the key in a Tao. You have your own sexual energy, you have your own soul and spirit, and you have to learn how to producing food to feed them. And that we call Jing, Qi, and Shen.
Yes.
Okay? So the whole key is the sexual energy. Without sexual energy, there is no Qi, not increasing. Qi is this much and it finish.
Right.
No matter what you do, you spend them all, and now we're scrambling for more energy.
Yes.
We found whatever you can give me more energy, we do it. But people never know that, hey, you can transform your sexual energy, you have more Jing Qi. You have more, when you have Jing, you have more Qi, and you have more life force. We start
Exactly.
adding more oil into the lamp. We run out of oil, so
Yes.
there's no light.
Right.
So when the oil is run out, what happens? You have to
No
throw
light.
out. You have to throw the lamp out. No use.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, this has been very spiritually nourishing. This has been a form of food for myself and for my audience. So I want to just thank you so much. 谢谢. Really,
Thank you.
such a pleasure
Thank
to
you.
have you on A Better World. I want to thank you all for tuning in today. This is Mitchell J. Rabin for A Better World. Please write to us with your comments at mjr@abetterworld.net and visit us at our website, www.abetterworld.tv. And I look forward to seeing you all next week.